Welcome to Brand OTC, where we answer your branding questions with a full over the counter product. Today's product is called Psychology Boost, which helps you enhance brand identity with color psychology. If you're struggling with a wrong first impression, emotional disconnect, or poor brand recall, this episode is the one for you. So, hello, my name is Cynthia Akita, and I'm your brand strategist and brand and web designer here at the Design Firmacy. And this episode is going to be a little bit different. So, the question is, how do colors impact my brand identity? Well, there are a number of ways, which I will go through in a second, but I do want to let you know that I'm going to go through the different connotations of the different colors, but I'm just going to insert a teaching that I did a few months ago during an event that we called Brand Beyond Roundtable. I did this teaching in that experience, and I'm going to attach it after I go through a couple of things first. So, with that said, there are about 5 ways. There are more ways, but I'm going to cover 5 ways that colors impact brand identity. And the first is that colors influence brand perception and emotions. So, whether you realize it or not, colors evoke emotions and associations. They make you feel things, they make you respond in a particular way. And so, an example of that is the color red. Red is passionate, it can be exciting, but it could also give you a sense of urgency. So, Coca-Cola is a brand that uses a lot of red for passion and excitement. And then you also have Netflix as well, right? But at the same time, ambulances or police cars tend to have red in their colors to signal that, hey, we're around you. We need way, like give us the way. There's an emergency or there's something that we need to get to that needs our attention right now, right? So that sense of urgency is there. When it comes to the color blue, you think of trust, you're calm. A lot of brands that are very professional um, use the color blue. So think of like Facebook. I mean, you may not necessarily see Facebook as like professional, but people trust the platform to connect their families. And that's really what Facebook was for, back in the day, a couple years back was to connect families. And so we trusted Facebook to help us, communicate with family members who were not necessarily around us. And, the sentiment is still true in a lot of cases. And then we have the color green, which can symbolize growth, health, or sustainability. So you can think of like Whole Foods or even Spotify, right? And please excuse my little one if you hear her in the background. But choosing the right color palette helps to shape how people feel about your brand. And I want you to also keep in mind that colors differ based on culture. Um, Different countries have different meanings for the colors that they use. And so, for example, I'm from Ghana, and when you wear black, it means that you're like in a season of mourning or in a time of mourning, you're grieving. In some other cultures, black is a celebratory color. But in my culture, God forbid I wear black to a wedding, someone's gonna ask me if someone in my family has passed away or if I'm mourning, right? And so you also want to take that into account depending on where you are in the world, and what colors mean in that type of a setting in that culture. Number two, colors drive brand recognition. So they say a consistent use of color increases your brand recognition by up to 80%. Now, that's a large number. So, we do not want to forsake how valuable colors are. Now, iconic brands are instantly recognized by their colors alone. So, you can think McDonald's with the golden arches or that Tiffany blue. Like the moment you mention Tiffany blue, you know exactly what shade it is, right? You think about that box and that white bow and all of that. And so, it is important that we make our colors um, unique in the way that we express our brand consistently. And it helps make it easier for your brand to be identified in a crowded market based on the way that you market your colors. Now, number three, colors communicate brand personality. And so your color scheme reflects your brand's character and your brand's voice. And so some bright and bold colors sorry. So some bright and bold colors will read as energetic, playful, youthful. You can think of even Fanta, or even I know Fanta comes in different flavors and colors, but I typically like the orange one. So that's where my mind like immediately goes to. Um, but they're also muted and earthy tones, which are more grounded and sophisticated and a lot more minimalistic. And so your color choices should always align, or I shouldn't say always, because we can break the rules if we want. But in most cases, they should try to align with your brand persona and your values. Now, number four is the fact that colors influence your purchasing decisions. And colors have the ability to colors have the ability to affect sorry, colors have the ability to affect um, our behavior as we are making purchases, how we purchase, the decisions that we make in that area. And so you do not want to forsake color choices. Now, reds and oranges typically stimulate appetite, and they're even often used in food branding. I don't know if you realize, again, McDonald's, we have Chick-fil-A, if I'm not mistaken, I think Dairy Queen may have some red in it. I have to double check that. Wendy's has red in it. So, some of those colors just naturally stimulate appetite, hence the reason why they're used. And then colors like blues and greens inspire trust and calmness, and they're commonly used in financial and healthcare brands. And so, if you pay attention to your colors, they can subtly nudge your customers towards taking action. And then number five, your colors set industry expectations or they have the ability to challenge them. And so certain industries tend to gravitate towards specific colors. You have your tech companies which often use blues for trust and reliabilities. But then you also have like luxury brands which use like the blacks and the golds and sometimes like silvers or gray for elegance and exclusivity. So sometimes breaking away from that industry norm can help your brand to stand out. And so a great example of that is T-Mobile, that pink magenta color, even though they're a tech company, it sorry. Even though they're a tech company, helps them to stand out. And so the key in all of this is that being consistent and having a very strategic use of color enhances your brand's memorability, its emotional impact, and as well as its authority. So colors are important. I know a lot of times we want to choose our favorite colors when we're building our brands, but the thing about that is your favorite color one that will appeal to your audience and get them to make a decision towards the goals that you have for your business? That's a question you want to ask yourself. So, if that's something you're ever battling, you definitely want to think about how that color affects your audience. So, with that said, I am going to cue in the training that I did. Um, a couple months ago, as I mentioned. And in that video, I'm going to explain the different connotations of each color, what the lighter and darker hues evoke, the emotions that they evoke, and how they're used, and give you some examples of brands that use those specific colors. So, hang on one moment and I'll add that portion in here. Emotion, because emotion is what you're trying to kind of tug on in order to get people to respond and to react to the things that you're putting out there. So we're going to start with red. And psychologically, red stands for passion, energy, excitement, urgency, and love. It grabs people's attention and it evokes very strong emotions. We're getting into that Valentine's season as we're getting into February, so we're going to be seeing, if we haven't already started seeing it, but we're going to start seeing a lot of red hearts and Cupid and Valentine's Day this, Valentine's Day that. And when you dig into the darker hues, a deep red suggests sophistication, power, seriousness. Burgundy conveys luxury. Your lighter hues more so like the light reds or sometimes pink, is more playful. It's also romantic and youthful. Some examples of this are Coca-Cola. You see that nice red color shows energy and excitement. And then pink with Barbie. The Barbie brand is very playful and extremely feminine. Then you have your blues. So blue is a great color for um, getting someone to trust you, trying to show that you're reliable, calm, and professional. It's often associated with stability and security. So I don't know if you've ever noticed, but many hospitals use blues, banks use blue because you definitely want to trust them if you're putting all of your money in there, right? And even with your police, you want to, I don't know what it's like in Canada, but here in America, our police officers use red and blue. So red to get your attention, to show like what's the word? I can't think of the word, but urgency is the word. Sorry, urgency. But then also blue so that you feel safe with them as well. So a navy blue, a darker hue of blue, conveys authority, tradition, and seriousness. Um, so think of like corporate and government use. You see a lot of blue and red, blue for Democrats and red for Republicans. And then the lighter hues like the sky blue feels refreshing, it's friendly, and it's approachable. So IBM is one of the many businesses that use blue, and it exudes professionalism and reliability. Whereas back when we had Twitter, Twitter had that light blue color, which made it approachable, and it was big for communication, which we saw on the platform before it became X. And then we have yellow. So yellow exudes happiness, optimism, and energy. And it's attention grabbing, but sometimes can feel overwhelming if it's overused because it's so bright. Now, the darker hues, think of mustard or gold tones. They represent heritage, warmth, and sophistication as well. And then the pale yellows are more gentle, friendly, and uplifting. So think yellow like McDonald's, you're happy, it stimulates hunger. And then you have your gold, think Rolex, luxury, and heritage there. And you see a lot of gold usage. Not so much right now, but maybe a couple of years back, you would see a lot more gold because, again, gold is valuable. So people compare that with luxury a lot. Then you have your greens, which psychologically yield to growth, nature, health, and balance. In some cases, money, obviously, because money, at least here in America, is green. So green is calming and associated with eco-consciousness. The darker hues, if you think of like a forest green, conveys wealth, tradition, and stability. And something like a lime green makes you feel youthful, fresh, and energetic. So Starbucks is green or uses green, and you see a lot of balance, growth, and freshness there. And then a lime green is more so a Sprite, where you get energy, refreshment, and some excitement there as well. Then we have orange, which exudes creativity, enthusiasm, and warmth. It's playful and it's much less aggressive than red, even though it still catches attention, similar to a way that red might. The darker hues of orange, like a burnt orange, would convey warmth, nostalgia, and earthy qualities or earthy tones. And peach, for the lighter hue, will be very gentle, soft, and inviting. So Fanta as orange, the orange flavor is very playful, it's very fun. And a darker orange, if you think of a Home Depot, is more centered around reliability and affordability. Then we have purple. So purple is a great color for luxury, creativity, a lot of times spirituality and mystery, and it's often tied to imagination and royalty. And so that's where that luxury portion comes in. So a deep purple suggests sophistication, power, and mystery. A lighter hue like a lavender is more calming, romantic, and nurturing. So with Cadbury, you have the Cadbury bunny. You have some luxury and indulgence there with the chocolate. And then Hallmark, you have care and sentimentality. And then black, which is, I would say, is probably one of my favorite colors along with green. Black is just sophisticated. It yields power, authority, and elegance. And black is bold and timeless, but sometimes it can feel very heavy because it's just so stark and strong. For My parents are originally from Ghana, West Africa, and although black is a beautiful color, for me personally, I have to be mindful in the settings where I use black because in my culture, black is reserved for sadness, mourning, or funerals. And so, even if you're wearing a beautiful dress or, you have a beautiful headscarf on, if it's black, someone automatically assumes that you are mourning or that you've lost someone in your family. So, while these colors have specific meanings, it does alter it alters the emotions based on the culture or the location of your audience and what they're experiencing. So, if your audience is for the people in Ghana, West Africa, and you decide you want your brand to be all things black, they're going to think that, you know, maybe something is going on there where it's more sad and they don't see the sophistication and the power and all of that. So while I'm sharing all of these psychological um, ideologies with you, also keep in mind that they are also influenced by cultures and locations as well. So generally, pure black reinforces authority and formality. The lighter hues, which would be like the grays, are more neutral, balanced, and conservative. So the brand Chanel is very luxurious, expensive, and it exudes timeless elegance. Whereas with gray, you can think of Apple, where it's more neutral and it's minimalist. Then we have white, which is also a nice clean color, exudes purity, simplicity, cleanliness, and innocence, and is often used to create a sense of space and openness. And then we have some darker hues. So it's kind of weird to say darker hues for white, but off-white conveys warmth and softness, whereas a pure white enhances a sense of sterility or cleanliness and modernity. And so with white, Tesla uses white in their brand. Very modern, and they have a lot of innovation, as you can see with their Cybertruck. They're definitely doing things that are out of the box. And then when it comes to off-white, Etsy uses some off-white in their branding for creativity and approachability. Then we have brown, which is very warm, reliable, earthy, and provides comfort. Brown is grounded and dependable. So that chocolate brown conveys richness, tradition, and warmth, whereas the tans or the beige tones feel very soft, approachable, and neutral. So with the darker brown, you have a brand like UPS, which is dependable. It shows strength. You can trust them with your packages, your important items. And then you have something beige like Nespresso, the coffee, which is warm and sophisticated as well. Then we move on to pink, which is part of red, but I did want to highlight like some darker tones of pink as well. So pink generally is romantic. It exudes femininity, and playfulness. And then pink can be both youthful and sophisticated, depending on how it's used. So magenta is bold, creative, and vibrant, whereas baby pink feels more delicate, gentle, and sweet. You can use that with babies, for example. With magenta, you can think of T-Mobile, which is very bold, gives a lot of energy. Whereas light pink, you can think of a Victoria's Secret, where it's more romantic and elegant. Then we have gray, which is neutral. It gives balance and it's also professional. And gray serves as a calming and more mature color. So the darker hues, maybe a charcoal gray, convey strength, formality, and authority. Whereas the lighter hues, think silver, feels more modern, sleek, and futuristic. So, you have the gold, which is luxurious, and then you have silver, which gives like a sleek look as well. So for charcoal gray, you can think of LinkedIn, and I know you're saying LinkedIn. LinkedIn is blue. Um, but keep in mind that everything on their app is actually gray. So while their logo is blue, their elements and additional points of contact there are it's literally gray. They don't use black. At least I haven't noticed any black. I've seen just straight gray all over their app. And then for silver, you can think of Mercedes-Benz or many car companies actually, where it's very luxurious and innovative. And then I didn't mention, or maybe I did, I don't remember. For LinkedIn, it exudes professionalism and reliability. So that's the end of our colors there. If you already have defined colors or a defined color palette in your branding, something you can definitely do, again, as I mentioned earlier, is focus on one particular color that speaks to whatever your offer is and kind of lean into that. So if you have a color palette that has orange, yellow, and blue, and you really want to dig into the creativity of something, then you may consider using more yellows in the touch points for that specific offer compared to all the other colors you may have in your color palette. So again, it depends on the type of system that you have, but those are some options that you can potentially utilize to kind of set things apart as you are building your offers and going through your brand. So all right. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments below. And when you get a moment, please make sure to like the video, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Have you tapped into your Firmacy benefits? As a beneficiary, you unlock special offers, gifts, and always stay in the loop. Subscribe today to receive your exclusive dose. Visit firmacybenefits.com.